Hello, everyone, or whoever is here. Well, I know we have Sarah with us. This is Toni Weel. Um, I haven't given an intro actually and tell people who I am or what I am about. And so maybe it is time again for the new people who may be listening in. I'm in Florida. My name is Toni Weel. I am a Dr. Morse trained and certified detox specialist, health counselor, whatever you want to call it. I help people on their way getting healthy and do it in a fun and caring way. I came to this because of my own health issues that when I look back had since I was born, pretty much. And even at a young age, as 19, my gallbladder was taken out. I experienced a really weird symptom that had me, paralyzed from the neck down for a few days, and then it came back, related to the wrong foods that I ate for me at that time, and I was in my early 20s. I had my share of things happening with my health, but the worst came after after the vaccinations that were needed for immigration, and polio was one of them in 2001. And it seems that that together with a lot of stress, it went downhill. So I was constantly searching as what to do, how to do it, which supplements to take. So you could almost consider I was the supplement queen, but my God, I think I was at least spending $500-600 a month, just to have all the supplement, and it did not make a difference. Changing diets, leaving certain foods out, even got on. Oh, you don't even want to hear it, on a keto diet. Very short carnivore. That was not me because I was never a meat eater. And then I got to vegan again, many times in my life. But I got to vegan again, still no changes. Then I got to raw vegan, and I was just getting sicker. And then I met Dr. Morse. And he gave me the tip, like, leave the nuts and the seeds out of your diet and the fatty fruits like avocado. And that's where the big changes came. Now, I'm not perfect. None of us really is. So I have my fallbacks, but I keep moving forward. And one thing is rather difficult for me because I've had it for a long time, and that is I have cataracts in both eyes. And I was hoping that with the fruit I could do it, but I've had it for so long, and probably because of all the fruit that I've been eating and leaving all the junk, call it junk food, out. It didn't get as bad as fast as it usually does, but I think I'm getting to a point like it's okay, I may need surgery because I don't want to turn up completely blind. But even Dr. Moore said cataracts is not an easy thing to heal. It takes time, and sometimes we just run out of time. But I'm still hoping. I'm still expecting, I would say, that it gets better on its own. But I keep in mind that maybe a cataract surgery may be necessary. And I finally had the nerve to check into that, and it seems that it's not as bad as any other surgeries, because I do not like surgeries. I can tell you that. I'm pretty scared of the full anesthesia, of having previous issues with that and not waking up. So I rather stay awake as much as I can. So that was a little bit of my story. I'm as a health coach or a detox specialist, I love to help people, talk with people, and I always give a free well, what do you call it? Discovery call. See, what we can do to accomplish your health goals. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. And again, of course, sunny Florida. So that's great. It was actually pretty hot outside already, definitely in the sun. So Sarah, now you can introduce yourself a little.
Wonderful. I love this part. My name's Sarah, and I've been on this journey also for a very long time. And yeah, I mean, just came from basically a meat eating background, the SAD diet, like almost all of us do, and started out vegetarian, vegan, and I can't say I was ever identified myself as like a raw vegan or anything like that. I pretty much just jumped right into the fruits then from being vegan. I did teeter back and forth a lot from vegan to vegetarian, but then veganism just started getting such a bad name, and all these companies were coming out with vegan foods and stuff like that. And on one hand, you're like, that's wonderful, it gives people other options. But when you start looking into those vegan foods, are they really better options? Yes, they are. And the fact that you're no longer contributing to the murder and stuff like that. But, are they really better for us? And the answer is no. The best option that I found so far is the fruit. And it wasn't until I started really feeling the healing until I really kicked it up in high gear with the oranges and the orange juice. And like I said before, I think on last week's show, maybe the week before, this is the first year that I haven't had winter eczema on my hands. And as somebody that works in a barn and outside every single day through the winter, that's very painful. I mean, your hands literally just break open and start bleeding. And there's really nothing you can do to it, no matter what you put on it topically. But then I started doing the orange juice, and here it, started getting fixed. And so far, so good. I mean, we're into January. It's been kind of a mild winter, but I mean, we're still hitting to like the 15 degrees and like 10-degree weather. So, I mean, it's still pretty cold, and my hands are A-okay this year.
Yeah, that's amazing because I know how painful that can be. You're talking about like 15 degrees. That's freezing. That is freezing cold.
It was 25 degrees yesterday, and I only had a t-shirt on. So
Oh my
we're
gosh.
built a little different. I mean, maybe if you weren't in Florida anymore, you'd probably be in the same boat. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I was just walking outside to go get the mail and stuff. I wasn't staying outside, but and I didn't wear a coat at all yesterday. I just had on like a light sweater. So I left my coat at home because the sun was shining, so it felt nice. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess you get used to that because in November when I was in the Carolinas and it was freezing there, and it was like 28 to maybe 35 degrees, and even at 35, 40 degrees, oh my God, I was so cold.
Yeah, that's funny.
I had a thick winter coat on and a hat and a shawl and boots on and gloves, and I was freezing.
I think it also depends on the wind too. So if it's pretty windy, then yeah, it's still cold even for all of us. But
Yeah.
yeah, if the sun's shining, it's calm, it's nice. The other thing I was going to say too is I still have I think a pretty long journey to go. I still have mucus that is in I can hear it in my voice still. And, but I'm just taking the path of just letting it come out as it needs to. I'm not being very aggressive. And that's some of the things I talked about before is at least I think at this time I have time on my side, but not everybody does. So I can take the time just to allow my body to do it naturally. Whereas some people that do come to Toni and Dr. Morse have to do it a lot more aggressively. And speaking of aggressive, though, we are starting a grape fast. My mom has already started, Barb, who's the other unicorn in Virtuous Unicorns, but she has had some stuff come up over the last year where, she's, just moving right along as she can at her own pace right now. So she has started her grape fast yesterday, and we, including my husband, will be starting today. We had some obligations yesterday where we just couldn't get to pick up our grapes, but we got them today and we're full on board with that. So we'll see how we go.
That sounds great. And I told you I was going to do it with you, but I forgot about it. And Willem, my husband, he just put in a huge bowl with the most delicious mangoes in front of me, all nicely cut up. I actually already emptied it just before we got on.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, and I haven't had any good ones for a long time. And I got them at Costco.
Okay.
So anyone goes to Costco, that is where you right now find the best mangoes.
Nice. I haven't had a great mango since our friend brought them up from Puerto Rico, and I have not had a good one since. I said, you ruined me. Now I know what they really taste like.
Yeah, and especially after I tasted the one that came from my own mango tree. Now we had some frost here, and mango trees don't do well in frost, but the tree looks a little sad, but I think she survived. So we shall see. But that one, my own tree, they had mangoes. They were 3-4 times the size what I've ever seen. It like you almost need 2 hands to hold them, at least my hands.
That's amazing. And keep in mind, no matter where you get your fruit from, it's better just to eat the fruit, clean it, and pray over it. Ask God to infuse it with his energy and his light. And he knows that you're doing the best that you can do with what you have. So even if you're getting them from Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, the grocery store, not all of us can grow fruit from our own area, our own fruit forest. So we just have to do with what we have access to. And he understands that and knows that.
Oh, absolutely. But don't think that I had a whole bunch of mangoes. It only got 4. And it could have got 1 because I was too late. So, but yeah, it's but I found that there are actually farms around where you can get them. And I still have to go there, and it's about a 2-hour drive where you can buy ripe oranges, ripe on a tree. So
every time we talk about oranges, my mouth will water. And I know we're not supposed to be addicted to anything, but boy, that's one of my addictions.
Yeah, well, for me, I have to admit it's a good mango, but it has to be good, juicy and sweet. And a good watermelon always works. And I still like my apples, my apple juice specifically with a little bit of ginger. And well, I think on one big watermelon, I used 2 lemons.
I can't eat watermelon, but I love watermelon juice.
Yeah. I'm not really, I don't really like to eat it. But the juice is great.
Now I do have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to just say, I know we kind of chatted a little bit offline on the grape fast, but I am concerned that my mom may not eat enough on the grape fast. Is that ever a concern?
Well, what is not enough and what is enough? It is, you don't heal because you put more fruit in your body. Right. You heal because you leave everything else out.
Okay.
So, and how long does she want to do it?
I think she's going to try to do 30 days.
Okay. Well, I would eat as much as you can, and what you can do, you can juice some. So that is definitely, you get more grapes in, and you can eat some. Okay. That both works.
My concern is that, so like where my mind starts thinking about things like this is, if she's dehydrated within, is she going to be getting enough hydration from the fruit on the cellular level to break up inside the body what needs to come out? So in my mind, I think eating more grapes is going to help to push the stuff out that needs to come out. Is that like a correct thinking, or am I overthinking it?
To get the toxins and the mucus out, you also need to drink water.
Right.
So that's one thing, and at least 1-2 liters of water would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, with the grapes, it's like I'm easily full with grapes. If I have like these soup bowls and I have a full one, that can take me a whole day, and I'm not hungry. And it feels fine. I mean, if you can do a water fast for 3-4 weeks, then I wouldn't worry about how much grapes you get in, but definitely make sure you get enough juice in.
Okay.
And that's why I say, if you have a good juicer, do at least half of them juice it.
Okay.
And the water is needed to get the toxins and the mucus out.
Yep. My goal for myself is somewhere between 2 to 4 pounds of grapes a day. And then on top of the water, between 1
Yeah,
to
that
2
would be
liters.
as a minimum. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, right now I think she's only yesterday. It was just yesterday, and she made it through 2 pounds of grapes. So as she goes on, maybe she'll want more.
And you have dark grapes?
Dark purple,
Wow, where did you get them?
Walmart,
Walmart?
of all places, right? And I'll tell you what, they were amazing.
Oh, well.
I know. I was like, what? Walmart? Come on now. Yeah, because all the other places only had green and like a light color red. So we were looking around, and of all the places, I was like, let's see. So I walked in, they had a whole area of dark purple grapes, like deep purple too.
Yeah.
So we washed
Wow.
them, put the baking soda in there, washed them, prayed over them, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I invited a beautiful woman from Portugal. Her name is Ola. And it was because it's something that she had posted in the fans group. And it stood out and it made me think, but she couldn't make it. And I didn't know. I think I just figured she would be here, but we have a time difference, and for her that was the busiest time, so she didn't make it. But I want to read that article that she wrote, and I had actually posted on my Facebook profile too on January the 10th. So let me read it because it opens up for something for discussion too. And she writes, people have forgot of their true origin and get confused when I mention that the fasted state is the natural way of being. Allow me to take you on a memory journey back to when you were a child, when you just wanted to be outside all day and play, laugh, and be with your friends. You never thought of coming home to eat unless you were forced by your parents. You were high on energy, the cosmic fuel that is sustaining you, not wanting to disrupt its flow. Did we even know about fasting then? No, we just did it naturally, because that's the natural human state. Kids, especially whom haven't gone through self-sabotage and harmful programming, are much closer to the natural state than adults who have gone through indoctrination and amnesia. Do you remember those times when you went to the beach for a relaxing swim under the nourishing, warm sunlight? It makes you feel full, doesn't it? Stepping on the golden sand with your bare feet, listening to the waves. You just wanted to be there all day, and the notion of eating was out of your mind because you're eating at that very moment. You're being present in the very moment and absorbing potent nutrition straight through source. Your mind is immediately of denser foods because the true you feels the contrast and resonates better with lighter forms of energy. This is the thing that most people get confused with. It's not about not eating food because you're always eating. It's about swapping the dense physical food with lighter forms of nourishment. If you're breathing, you're being nourished. But when you make the breath conscious and train yourself to breathe properly, you're extracting even more cosmic energy with each inhale. When you remove yourself from denser environments and start exposing yourself to nature more, you are being nourished by its healing properties. When you fill your body with bliss and peace instead of stress and negativity, you're creating an internal environment where your cells thrive. The nourishment the body craves is electricity. And the wonderful fact is that the body is made out of it, and it's also everywhere around you. You just have to make yourself receptive to it, firstly, by realizing it's there. And secondly, by not doing things that block its flow. Mental and physical obstructions must go in order for you to become unblocked. That's why fasting is highly important, not just from foods that damage you, but also from thoughts that impact you and your life negatively. Earth is a playground. Just be a child again and play more. Enjoy life. Be in the present moment and be yourself. Allow the body to open up by removing all the layers that aren't you. Start becoming receptive to the energy flow you have been suppressing all this long. This is what allows you to live longer and in permanent happiness, just like you're supposed to. You're not supposed to grow old and die in a body incapable of functioning. You're not supposed to age after reaching maturity. You're always meant to be youthful, playful, high on energy, high on life. Start by removing things that aren't you. Start removing things that don't belong in your life so you can be reborn as a child again. And that was written by Ola, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it is B-V-E.
Wow,
B.
that's amazing.
It is, and yeah. So go ahead, tell me how you feel about that.
I think it's amazing, and it's so true. It, just speaks to your soul. And as when we were children, I mean, we never came in to eat, and we'd have to be called in to eat. We didn't want to. We were just full of energy and life, and we were always out in the sun, and it was just amazing.
We never thought about eating.
Mm-mm.
And I really had to think back, and it's like, when did this start? It started probably when I was about 15, 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When in the Netherlands, the snacks came on the market. And before I knew it, I found myself addicted to all these snacks like Milky Way and Mars and whatever was out there. Weird.
Yep, the salts and the chips and the sodas. But fortunately, we were never allowed to have soda. And then as we got older, we were allowed to have a small, and I don't even know if they make these small of cups anymore nowadays, but I guess it would be equivalent to a child's cup of soda. And we were allowed to have it on a Friday night. And that was it.
Oh yeah, I didn't grow up with sodas at all. You had I think the first one you had there was like an orange kind of thing.
Like a
I
Tang
don't
or something.
Yeah, I don't even know what it was called, but I don't think that I had anything like a soda even into late teens, because it was just not on the market as much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I grew up in 80s and 90s, so it was there for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it is nice to think about that not everything, that as a child, nothing is about food. And now here we are. It's always about food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, magazines, advertising, and any event you go to, it's all about food. They even have these events where at the restaurants for selling you insurance or whatever they want to sell you, and then you get a free junk meal.
Yeah. Or they have all those benefits for like diabetes and stuff at like a wings joint. And I'm like, well, the wings are the problem.
Yeah.
Come in and have some chicken wings for your diabetes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, we sure got it backwards. But luckily we have found a path that's leading us to the truth.
We did, and I'm very happy about that. I would still like to say that Ola has her website, so it's OL, or her website, her profile. She's also trained by Dr. Morse.
Okay.
OLA is her first name, BVA her last name. And I hope that we can someday figure out to connect here so she can talk more about things, because all her writings I have read so far, they are amazing. It's such an amazing insight. And
Now, is
about
that your
things,
link on Facebook or? Was that a website?
No, it's on Facebook.
Okay.
But I'm sure if you type in her name, you get to her profile page.
Can you spell it one more time? OLA?
OLABVE.
Okay.
BV, the V of Victor.
Is it her profile picture like a blue?
Yeah, it's an Irish.
Yep. Got it. I'll post her in the chat if anyone else is interested.
Yeah, I really like her insight, so I hope that she can be here. And we will have, might as well announce it now instead of waiting until the end of the show, is someone posted an article about salts. I don't remember if it started with that I posted something, salt is a toxic, in a group, and then in a it's actually Fans of Dr. Robert Morse, ND Facebook group. And there are so many reactions came to that. Then somebody else added a post to this, Noah, and that had even more information, and really the comments were absolutely off the wall. And some I was just like, I have to remove those, but maybe I need to put them back because it was actually kind of interesting when you hear somebody say, we run on salt, and so we need it. And another one was, our brains run on salt, so we need it. And salt was used the same as you would use sodium. And it didn't matter. There was like, yeah, the sodium, the regular sodium, with the added iodine is not good, but the other salt is good. And it didn't matter how much, Sarah, you were explaining, I had someone else explaining, Noah was explaining, I was explaining, it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. So Noah found even more articles that she added with a more in-depth explanation as to the whys, and didn't make a difference. So we decided, okay, we're going to do a whole show about salt. Now, where Noah is, this time, like noon when we start, it would be 1 a.m. in her country, and that was not doable for her. So we decided to do an extra podcast on this Sunday. What is it? The 5th. Sunday the 5th at 8 p.m. in the evening.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. Yes. Thank you.
Or are we Daylight Standard Time right now?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Hopefully it's the last time.
I don't know anymore. It has always been confusing.
Let's just say Florida time.
Yeah, it's Florida time.
There we go.
And to my amazing, Juan is not here today. He is in Texas right now. And he was actually staying with someone who had a friend whose father wrote a book in the early 70s about how toxic salt is. The book is not available anymore, but I hope that they can bring it back on the market, because that had even more information about how salt affects our lives. And when you think about it, what salt does, it is, I always said, if you have food and it needs salt to make it, well, you can call it edible for you, then it's not food meant for us. End of story. It's just that easy. And then when you look at it, everything has salt. I was looking for some fish, canned fish for my cats, and that would just have fish in water, whatever it is, tuna, salmon. Nope, it always has salt in it. Now I do know salt is used and has been used as a preservative, but we got way too much salt. And actually, I read, and don't get me wrong, I love salt on food, but when I'm on all fruit, I mean, I don't even think about salt. I don't need to taste. I don't miss it. But with any and absolutely any cooked food, I would add salt, and I love salt. And I read someone, I think it was that Lauren Whiteman posted that about salt and cataracts. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is, I really have to, that needs to
Interesting.
stay, yeah, that needs to stay ingrained in my mind.
Mm-hmm. I
Because
was,
what if, what if that is a cause? What if that all the problems with the kidneys? And I grew up because my mother really liked her. Oh my gosh, I don't even know the English name for that. See, if there are people listening, they are Dutch, they know what the word pittig means. P-I-T-T I-G, pittig. Tasty. It's not really salty, but to get that taste, she did use quite a bit of salt. So that is how I grew up, with a lot of salt. I had bad kidneys when that was diagnosed through iridology when I was 21 years old. And I started 10 years ago, started the cataracts. And because with all my diet changes that I did, everything that I tried out, there was always salt in it until, I go on all fruit.
mm-hmm. Yeah, salt's one for me too. I always loved salt. But that was the only spice that we grew up with. There's actually like a joke within my sister-in-law's family where like my family doesn't use any seasonings at all. Like we just ate what it was, except for we would use salt and pepper. But that would just be the salt. So
Yeah, it is. That was nutmeg was one that was used in certain dishes, and pepper and salt. And it wasn't the black pepper that you have. I didn't see anything black pepper until way into adulthood, but it was the white pepper back then. And that was the only thing that was used.
yep. I've never had white pepper, so I don't even know. And I don't really even like pepper, to tell you the truth. Just more salt.
I stopped completely with pepper probably 5 years ago. So I don't use it at all.
Yep. Oh yeah. And that's interesting. And I was watching Dr. Morse with cataracts too a while ago, and he was saying that it's like the mucus build up within your eyes. So
Yeah, I know, and that it's
interesting.
not, and I know I have a lot of mucus build up in my head, that I can feel it near my ear.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably gonna try some ear candling again.
Yeah.
Haven't
Yeah.
done that in more than a year.
Yeah. I haven't done it in a long time either. So interesting to see. Well, we don't have Juan here today, but Grant said that he did say hello, and so did Tiffany, and we do miss them this week, but we do have Grant on the call too, and hope that Grant is doing well.
Yeah, all good here, Sarah, Tony. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me on, and just listening to what y'all saying. And yeah, a lot of it rings true. Mine is a little bit different stories in there, but yes, a lot of it rings true. Once you get past the different levels of where we going to, as far as for that, yeah, it's all good, all good. Just listening up to y'all. I'm all good right now.
We're very happy to hear that. And if anyone else in the chat would like to call and join in, please do. The link's at the top, or post your comments in the chat.
Yeah, it says my chat is disconnected. So if anybody put anything in the chat, I can't see it.
I'm watching.
Okay, okay. I don't know why it was disconnected. But you know what? The idea about going back to the childhood where you didn't feel that you needed anything else than just enjoying what you were doing, and food was not on your mind.
We were present. We were in the now. That was the other thing, where most of us are in the future. We're planning ahead and we're distracted.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing. Most of us don't even know we're eating. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was working, and I would work through my lunchtime. So I'd be eating while I was working, or I wouldn't have time to finish a proper meal. So I would just grab something and eat while I continued working. and then you're running your children everywhere, you're taking care of your home, all that stuff. So we've been distracted. And like we said before too, if the devil can't make you do bad things, he'll keep you distracted so you can't focus on what you're supposed to be. So I think it's important that we try to learn very hard how to slow down and really learn how to be present again. We can be present within our body, within our mind, and with our food. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's correct, Sarah. When I was young too, I didn't worry about eating. It wasn't until I was older, and I don't know what happened there, but it's something happened, and I was wanting food. When I was young, I was a twig, you know. I remember a freshman in high school, 4'6", 96 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Little bitty. And I only was 96 pounds because I had gained 20 pounds that summer. I don't know what caused that. I was 75 pounds in 8th grade.
Oh,
and then
wow.
all of a sudden I was 96 pounds as a freshman.
Yep.
So eating was never my priority. My priority was going, riding a bike, working, whatever. Outside.
Yep.
As long as I could, my parents would be hollering for me, my mom especially, when they say your whole name, it's time to come home.
Yep.
When they say the whole name.
Exactly. It means you better get home right now.
Yeah. And that's how I was every day. But none of my siblings were like that. My other 3 siblings, they was fine just staying home and just sitting there. Me, I had to go. I had to get the hell out, see something.
Yeah.
Besides what I seen, the same old thing. The TV and the radio. Well, back then there wasn't much TVs,
Right.
We didn't get cable till 81. So, them 10 years before was like there wasn't a whole lot. You had about 5 channels on the TV. And then you had radio, and we was listening to 8 tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
We wore the 8 tracks out over here. Well, they did. I kind of blended in when I could, but no, I never was that kind of person. I always wanted to go. But as I got older, especially now, that changed a lot. Especially with the things now, it's like, all them friends you thought you had.
Yeah.
If you try to tell them some of this stuff now, you won't have many friends.
Nope.
So, that's all. It's all the changing aspects of it, and I'm okay with that. It just it's such a when you're doing that, it's kind of like a mental game that you almost play with yourself. You play with yourself and you play with others, because you what do you say? What don't you say? And as the years went on, now it's like, okay, there's many places I don't even touch anymore. The only thing I try to touch is like family. I try to keep planting the seeds, try to do something like that. But as far as for the outside world, however you want to call it, it's like I'm at the point right now where, okay, I give up for right now. Let them, the free will and all of that. They have their right to do what they want to do, and that's kind of it's almost silly, because they're pulling the wrong moves, because I pulled the wrong move, so I know it's the wrong move. But it's like you can't really you can't tell somebody that. They have to see it for themselves, and that's all of that learning curve of just when you learn something that's good and can help everybody. I think we all want to show it to everybody, but it's not that simple. It's not that simple of just, hey, this is what I did and this is what you could do. And no, they don't even want to accept it, So it's all at all a play on what the learning process, and that how do you get to where you want to get without trying to change somebody else to what you want them to be. So it's that tweaking right there, and I'm still dealing with that. I just, the more I go into it, the less I kind of I go to that part, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever, because if they don't want to listen, you can't force somebody. So,
Yep. The best we can do is lead by example. And when I go out and I'm, really trying to, I hate to use the word influence, but it's like I just try to shine as bright as I can, just in my eyes, in my smile. I push my energy out from my heart area and just let people really feel my energy. And then it's amazing. If they're ready, they'll ask. And that's the route I kind of take, because every time I still lay seeds everywhere I go. But when I'm really talking to somebody, I just see them, they just shut down. They don't want to hear it or whatever. So that's when I say, I love talking about it. So if you ever have questions, please, I'm here. And I just leave it at that. But the best thing we can do is just lead by example and lead by showing your light to everybody. And everybody sees the light and everybody wants the light within them, but you just don't know their situation at that time. We've all been there, and some days it's hard to get out of bed. And so thinking about ramping up that kind of energy, it's very hard. But when you're on this path and you are full of light, and you're full of life and not death, that energy is so much easier to feel and to share. So it's just baby steps at first, and then all of a sudden it's a light you can't turn off.
We need T-shirts that have sayings on it that people want to know more.
Yes. Ask me if you want to know more about my light.
Yeah, but no, it's of course not that way in your face, but more about making people curious about what you do and why you shine that light, so you don't have to explain. And when people want to know more, then they listen. Otherwise, they don't listen. They don't listen because you want them to listen.
Nope. And they have to be ready. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, but if they are ready, they will ask. They will want to know more. Yeah. And then we can guide them, into the right direction. But I'm serious about the T-shirt, because I had planned that for quite some time. And to be honest, I need to find a funding for the Garden of Eden social platform. And that would be one of them, where we can guide them to that platform and get things going. It is. I'm pretty active with it again. Now, I already started working on it last year. What was it, May or June? And kind of slow because I couldn't figure out how to do certain things, but everything is falling into place. The people that I'm talking to, and it's like, oh my gosh, we have to do this and we have to do that. And
that's how you know it's time then.
I'm sorry? That's
how you know it's time. The path has been cleared. The mountains have been moved.
It is, but it is while you're working on things become clearer. It is really hard to make a plan beforehand. It's like, oh, this is how it has to work. It never worked for me. Not when I was a fashion designer, or even when I designed a magazine. It didn't work that way. I always do things backwards, I think, but it turns out even better and more what is the word? Artistic. That is the word. Creative.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. That's awesome. I was gonna say, I don't know if you can see the chat yet or not, but we do have a question over there from Monique. Monique says, I'm taking care of elderly people. A lot of them are using MAGGI, which Jacob answered in below that is a very salty food. And she thinks it is extremely salty, but maybe Toni knows. It's MAGGI.
Oh, Maggie.
Yeah, Jacob said that's very Dutch.
Oh yeah, Machi. Yeah, of course. Oh my God. Now you mentioned that, Monique. That was what my mother put in everything. Machi. I didn't even think about salt in that way. Yeah, absolutely. And if people want to use it, but I don't think you will be able to change that, is what is it? Coconut aminos. Now, the problem with coconut aminos is also that there's probably salt in it. I haven't even read the label for a long time, but it is highly processed, so it's not even a good thing to use. But yeah, mahi, it goes in juice, and what is it? I was going to call it a juice, but it's like a sauce, and it absolutely goes in every soup, every soup. And yeah, I loved I love the taste. But getting people off salt, my gosh, I hope that at Sunday's podcast there will come out some good tips to get out of it, because it damages not only your kidneys but also your adrenals. And I was surprised to not have any salt cravings as soon as I am on a whole day of fruit. It's like it doesn't even exist.
Yep, I think it has a lot to do with dehydration too. And I noticed that when I'm on oranges or grapes that I'm more full, and I really think that we've confused hunger for dehydration for a long time.
Absolutely. And I'm I was going to say I'm at fault with that. I don't drink enough. I just forget it. I'm busy, and then it's like, oh, I'm kind of thirsty. Keep working. And then you get more thirsty and more thirsty. And even if you feel that thirst, it's actually already too late. You're already dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
And with me, I can very easily see it at my fingertips. It's like, they look kind of like
You've been in the pool.
yeah, or too long in a bathtub.
Yep, exactly. And I don't want to say I hate water, but I can't stand to drink it. Like, it really is something where it's like, just hold your nose and chug it down. And
Oh my gosh,
I know,
girl.
I'm such a baby.
I had a friend, and she said she was absolutely adamant she could not drink water. So, but did she drink Diet Coke the whole day? Liter
Well,
Diet Coke. But
yeah.
no, you know what I did? I got her that was one of these bottles. You can infuse fruit in it. So you
Mhm.
put kind of fruit in it, and then it has this little fruity taste. But you know what? I think you haven't gotten the right water yet, because not all water tastes good.
Yeah, nope. But I am very particular too. Like, there's certain water that I can't even touch. Like, I can smell it. It doesn't taste right. And then certain water, I can at least get it down. I can put it that way. But yeah, I'm going to start trying to infuse. Like, I do add lemons to my water, and that definitely helps. But I'm still not a water drinker. My husband all the time, well, how much water you had? I'm like, probably none. But I mean, in my mind, though, I'm like, well, I'm eating fruit and I'm drinking my juice, but I know that water still plays a very important part, especially when you're detoxing. So that is definitely one of the parts I fail, is with water.
Yeah, I like water, and it's something that I liked my whole life. I've never been into any sodas, never liked them. I've never been into, I didn't drink beer or any other alcohol things. I didn't like wine. And so what was left, it was water.
Mhm.
And I really do like to drink water.
Yep.
But I just forget. It's just, but for you to say, I don't like water, change your mindset. Don't ever say that again.
I try very hard. I'm always like, I love this. You're doing wonders for me.
Something else. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it was even Monique telling me about that. What I should do is putting loving words on the water. I have a big 2-gallon dispenser where I put in my distilled water. Now, before anybody comes up with this, distilled water is alkaline until you let it sit, or until, I don't know how fast it goes, but it becomes actually acidic, which I didn't know. And I was like, am I going to worry about that? No, not yet. But anyway, so I have my big distilled water dispenser. And now you write down loving words, love, smile, happy, whatever. And you tape them so that the words are towards the water. And it may sound so silly. And I know that people, when they hear this, it's like, well, you're crazy. You're nuts. This makes no sense.
Dr. Emoto did that whole
Yeah,
entire thing. So
Well, I was getting there. And so,
yeah.
yes, absolutely. Of course, I haven't tried it yet because I forgot. And I was just with you in the water. It's like, now, what if that changes when you do that? What if that changes for you, how you get your water in?
As an experiment, I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
So I will definitely try that. We have a question over in the chat. It says, how long does it take to rehydrate yourself?
I don't know.
When you're dehydrated, I guess.
Yeah, we don't know. It's probably very fast, because I can drink. And that is another thing. We always think like, yeah, water doesn't hydrate, but it is only the water from fruits that hydrate. I do believe water does hydrate, because when I have a headache, or I have lower back pain, or I can see my fingertips all wrinkly, I drink a big glass of water, it's gone. The headache goes away, the lower back pain, kidneys pain goes away, and I see my fingers turn back to normal. So I do feel that water does hydrate, and I think it goes pretty fast. But if you have like chronic dehydration that really, messes up your kidneys, you have to do it every day. And it's not like, okay, today I drink a liter of water, so I'm good for the rest of the week. I'm hydrated again. It's something that you do every day.
I think also too, are you still eating cooked foods? Because keep in mind, when you're eating cooked foods, that really sucks all of the hydration out of your body. So if you're drinking a ton of water, but eating cooked meals, you're kind of counteracting what you're really trying to do. But if you're on fruit and you're drinking water on top of that, you should probably hydrate pretty quickly.
Yeah, that is the thing, that cooked food actually dehydrates right away. And I wasn't aware of that, because when you are on a average diet, with your cooked foods, and you don't even notice how dehydrated you are, because all the symptoms that you always have, you're kind of used to it. You hear people complain like, yeah, my back hurts, or I have a headache. Of course, I mentioned these two things because they're the most common. We all deal with it, all of us. And but once I had been on all raw, but really high fruit, and I ate something cooked, it was like done. I am thirsty. I could drink like a liter in half an hour. I was so thirsty, and on top of that, getting tired, and it doesn't give you any energy. You would say, food gives you energy. Well, it definitely doesn't. And it's the same for soup. Soup, you think it's all water, it still dehydrates. It's cooked, it dehydrates.
Plus, not to mention the salts that are been added to it.
Yeah, the salt.
Here we go again. Can't wait for that show.
Oh my God, I never get over this salt thing.
While we're on the topic of water, well, what you just said too about distilled water, I know that you do distill your own water, but people that purchase distilled water, that usually comes in plastic jugs. Yeah. And so you're thinking about the plastic jug sitting there. It eventually will leach into your water if it hasn't already. And at the same time, you don't even know how old that water is before you do buy it from the shelf. All that being said, though, we still have to do the best we can do with what we have options to work within. We use distilled water around our house in some of our appliances, things like that, but we do not drink the distilled water that comes out of the plastic jug. We have a Berkey filter system, and I think that was last week's show as well too, where we kind of started touching on all the stainless steel stuff, and the Berkeys are 18.8 stainless steel, which means they do have 8% of the nickel in them. So now I'm starting to pull away from that. And all this week, I've only been drinking out of glass. So I don't even know what I'm going to end up doing with that, but I don't have any other options at this time. And so that really has slowed my water drinking at this point too, until I can figure something else out. But I need water, so I'm still am kind of using it. I just don't know what to do. What are your opinions on that, Toni?
Yeah, we touched that, and I've been thinking about it, and I would not be able to drink any water from the tap. Well, you cannot drink it from the tap because that's even worse. But my tap water goes through the. I have an Alexa Pure, similar to what you have, and from the Alexa Pure, then it goes into the distiller. And then I use it. Now, I do have to say that I have water in bottles. It is the, what was it? Aquapana water that I have, spring water
Yeah.
from Tuscany.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes in glass bottles and it comes in plastic bottles. But so that is my other thing to go to. I have been looking, when you mentioned that, I have been looking into shouldn't there be, like, glass containers where you can have filters in.
Mm-hmm. There is a glass Berkey or glass Alexa Pure. It's a different company. I have watched the videos on it months ago, so now I'm trying to comb through on how to find it again. But
yeah, I couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm. As soon as I find it, I'll send it to you, and then of course I'll share with everybody else too. I'll post it on my Facebook page too. That way anyone else that's interested can. But yeah, I mean, it's just, even all the stuff that we know, like, you can't escape it, basically. So we can only do the best with what we have.
Well, we always come back to that, we do the best in what we can do, and not to worry about it too much, because that is a problem. If you worry about every little thing, it's not helping you. It's not, you don't get any healthier for that. And then you think that, with everything that you inhale or drink or eat and are worried about it, that is stress. And that is acidic.
We're not supposed to worry.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point. It's like, I do the best that I can and I'll let it go. So
that's right. That's right, Toni and Sarah. From what I understand, I mean, I've been in the water softening business since '89. And I know a lot about water and filtration and salt and stuff like that, as far as for the water part. And from what I understand about man, I'm drawing a blank. The water we was talking about,
distilled water.
Distilled water.
Mm-hmm.
If when you put it in something like plastic, well, distilled water is taking all the minerals and everything. Well, basically all the electronic parts of it out of it. So it wants to attach. Well, if you put it in plastic, well, the plastic, it'll attach to what's in that plastic. All them things. So from what I understand is copper vessel. If you have a copper vessel, you store that water in, and it's not only going to keep it pure, it's going to give it that charge that it needs. I think it's a negative charge that copper gives. I'm not exactly sure. I heard Charlie and Josh and them talking about it. But yeah, that's from what I understand right now is, if you're going to do it, like she was saying, that it can go bad. Yes, because most people put it in. What I see, distilled water goes into 5-gallon old water, which you get at the places that you refill the 5-gallon jugs, which is plastic. And we know plastic is not good. They got all kind of chemicals. It's petrol. It's a petroleum product, period. So I don't think we should be drinking out of all base products. That's what all plastic basically is. It's all base, it's made from that. So from what I remember looking it up. I did a lot of research on water. That was my business. That was my thing. And everything's told me plastic, you don't put a water that's basically it's neutralized when you do that to it. It removes all of them things that you don't want. But if you put it into a container that has the same stuff, it'll pick it right back up. In other words, that copper vessel allows it to just stay where it's at, and it's not gonna. From what I understand, it's not gonna break down. It's not gonna ferment. It's not gonna go acidic. That kind of stuff. What Toni was talking about. So that's what I know. What I've learned so far. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not 100%, but that's the best I've gathered in this amount of time.
I found a glass water filter. It's called Zero Water 40 cup portable 2.5 gallon glass dispenser and 2 replacement filters.
I just found one too, and I just posted it in the chat.
Yeah, I can't see it.
It's the one I found is called the Water Machine, and it's 3.5 gallons, and it looks just like the Berkey, but it's glass.
Okay, well, you can WhatsApp
it
it to
too.
me.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that I chose for the Alexa Pure because that was actually the only one that filtered out fluoride.
Mhm.
And that is the one thing that I do not want in my body. And it doesn't even filter out all of it. It is like 90 something percent eliminates the fluoride, because that is the worst thing that you can have in your body.
Right. Yep.
So
that's
if these filters would not specifically say that they take the fluoride out, then I keep using my Alexa Pure, and then whatever comes from that stainless steel, I think it would be better than allowing the fluoride in your body.
And I do believe, because I was looking into that too, with the Alexa Pure filters, you can use them in the Berkey as well. So you don't have to have Berkey filters. You can use the Alexa Pure ones. So I imagine now you could probably use the Alexa Pure in the water machine, the glass gravity water filtration system. So I sent it to you in WhatsApp.
I do see the Berkey light water filter.
Mhm.
And it looks like glass because it's see-through.
That I believe that one is plastic.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? So we will see. This is definitely something I'm going to look into next. And Grant, thank you for all of your gnosis on that. That really helps. And a lot of the water filtration systems also use salt, but that was going to be a next one of my questions is, when we are using those systems that do require salt, like water softeners, etc. But I know what the Bible says about copper vessels. And I have heard both Charlie and Josh talk about that, but I wanted to investigate that further, which I don't have the information on that to really share or even talk of. But I definitely want to look into that, because copper is still a metal, and I don't know what it does to the water. So I want to look into that further.
Yeah, I would like to have a full house or a whole house water filter system, because when my clothes are being washed in the washer, they come out with a smell but it is that absolutely yucky tap water with all the junk in it. And my clothes are washed in it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that some of the junk is still in there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And if it gets on your skin, it gets in your body. And that is an issue. But it's like, I even tried here. I live in a double wide mobile home in a what is it? They call it a retirement park. And I was like, well, I have enough space here to we're renovating it, so I have enough space here to put a whole water filter system in. They don't want to do it. So I have to figure out who is going to do that, because that will be one of my next projects here. and that at least we can get clothes washing cleaner water. I do have a fluoride filter also on my shower head. So when taking a shower, it's at least most of the fluoride is eliminated, and I fill the bathtub with it. So yeah, I could go back to the old-fashioned way of washing clothes, but I'm not sure if I'm ready for that.
Do you know about the other countries? Do they have fluoride treatments in their water systems?
Well, the Netherlands had it until I think I'm not quite sure about the date, but it was somewhere in the 70s, and it comes to mind like 76. We may know more about that because he is still living there. But I had people say, I doubt if it's not in there. Willem, my husband, he went on a tour once on one of the facilities for the cleaner water. And he said there was a whole section that was, you could not get in there, and it has this danger sign on the door. And he's like, I wonder what's behind there. So yeah, maybe if the water would be tested there, it would be in there too. I don't know how many countries would have it. That is something to look into. But I'm pretty sure that it's more than you think, because that is well, we know why it's in the water.
Yeah.
Not because it helps us in any way. Quite the opposite.
It makes our teeth nice and white, right?
Yeah, right.
Not that fluoride. Not that one. Not that one.
I don't know about any, even all
No,
the
fluoride is good, and in this certain compound, but the one they put in the water is not good for us at all.
You're talking like the rock compound fluoride?
Right. The one that hits the pineal gland, calcifies the pineal gland. That's the one we have. I forget the chemistry name of it, the correct name of it, but there's just like sodium. There's many different kinds of sodium. There's many different kinds of chloride or chlorine. There's many different kinds of all of these stuff, salts. There's many different kinds, and what they give us is not correct. But what I'm talking about, when I'm talking about water, I'm talking about well water. Doesn't have anything like that. You got iron, you got hardness, you got calcium, you got other things in it. You know what I'm saying? But it's still a purer source. I'm not talking about tap water. Anytime you're talking about tap water, there's no pure source there. Yeah. It's already been treated. You don't get pure source. And that's what, when I'm talking about water, I'm talking about water from the ground. Yeah. Now, it stinks like crazy sometimes, like around here. We got hydrogen sulfide because they drill wells around here. And when they drill wells, they release the gases into the water table. And it stinks like rotten eggs, if you know what I'm talking about. Smells like sewage.
Sulfur.
Sulfur. Yeah, hydrogen sulfide. That's what there's hydrogen sulfide, but it's a form of sulfur. You see what I'm saying? There's all kind of these sources there that one is good, but many are not good. And it depends which one you have in your water or whatever it might be. Some sources are, like the salt. We use salt, to soften the water. But there's no salt that comes in the water. And I don't mean there's none, like 0%, but you will not taste it. If it's working correctly, you will not get a salty taste in your water. Okay? If it's something wrong with the softener, then the filter itself, then you'll get a salty because it's not washing out correctly. So that's, it's all of these little things that are minute. But we thought that, either salt's good or bad, or this is good or bad, or this is good or bad. And we kind of forget sometimes that there's so many variations. They done brought up so many variations into what we have to deal with nowadays. At one time, all of these sources were pure. Now we get, we get bleached flour, we get bleached sugar, we get bleached salt, we get bleached everything. That's not natural. That changes the whole composition of the ingredient that you're talking about, so it's still, I hear a lot of things, and, because I do a lot of research. I mean, when you're talking about, I don't know, 10, 12 hours a day for the last 10 years, and it's like you hear, I've heard every different aspect of every different topic you want to talk about almost. And it's like, you have to weed through what's the bullshit, what's the trash, what you can leave behind and what you can research further. So when somebody says it's just 1, 2, 3, I don't know about that yet. I'm not sure if it's that simple, because it depends what we're talking about here, and that's where I'm at right now. It's like, yes, I hear all of these things, and you have to figure out what's the best way, just like the water, the distilled water in that. Because I'm sure we all heard 1,000 different things. What's good, what's bad, what's this, what's that. And it's like, until you experience it, because I haven't experienced the distilling part. I was more on the filtration part. I didn't really get into the distilling part. So until I get my hands on it and really test it out, then I can know, right now, just kind of talking about what I'd heard and, the lessons I've learned in life and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at as far as for all of those things, it's because there's so many different forms of each of those that I don't know, exactly if we have it all. If we understand it, you almost have to be a chemist to get into those kind of things.
Yeah, but that's not what we want to do. We want to be at the natural part, and keep
Right.
everything out. I'm looking at a map now where all the countries that have purposeful fluoridation, and that is pretty much all of the United States and Canada, but not South America. And this is weird. Well, actually, it's not. Mexico doesn't have it. South America does. Russia does. Australia does. So it is put purposeful in the water. Of course, I look at the Netherlands, and that was actually on the map in green. It is the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, and the Scandinavian countries. They don't have. They reject fluoridation.
Yep.
So,
Monique did post in the chat that she believes that they have added it back into the water because the advocate who was against it in the Netherlands has passed away.
Oh.
Yep. No, I mean, and back to what Grant was saying, like I completely, I do agree with all that. We have no idea all the different levels and what can we even test for at this point. But at the same time, we definitely don't want any chemists or anything in our water. We want our water to be as it was intended to be. But at the same time, the well water and everything, you got to worry about all the runoff and the Roundup and all that stuff that could be in there. That was always my thought. I'm going to have well water. I'm going to have a filtration system put in, and then also possibly a distilling system put in. And in my mind, that was like the best that I could do for my area. But we're still on like city water, and they've removed all the copper pipes from any of the new homes now. And like just thinking, why did they remove it? Oh, well, it's money. Well, we would just pay for that when you have the house built, right? So it's not like it's costing the city money or anything like that for our copper pipes in our homes. And now everything's PVC plastic. So, I mean, there's just so many different levels, and we just have to do the best we can. That's all we can really do. Because if you sit down and think about everything, you're probably not going to eat, you're not going to drink, and you might not even ever leave your home. Or you might be afraid to go in your home.
Yeah, and not have a fun life. So we're not going to do that. Guys, we're already way over the hour.
Yes.
So we're
Very
gonna
interesting
close it up
podcast.
with this. I must say, I absolutely, totally missed having the live chat and not seeing it. I don't know what happens because
Yep.
that, yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
very
sorry if
wonderful
I didn't
chat.
respond to anything, but
I tried to get them all for us.
okay, well, yeah, I'm sure that you did a good job. So thank you, Sarah and Grant, for being here. And don't forget, the next one will be Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time or Florida time. We have an extra one, and then again the next week on Thursday.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you both very much. Thank everyone in the chat, and much love to you all, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes, thank you, everyone. I'm always happy, people show up here and do me a favor, like the video or like the podcast. It seems that it helps. I don't know how it helps, but that is what I've been told. Ask them to like
Get the
it.
truth out. All right.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Yeah, okay, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Till the next time.
Thank you, Tony and Sarah. Bye, everyone.